Good day, students. Welcome to mathgotserved.com. In this clip, we're going to be going over section 1.5a of our virtual Algebra 1 text. We're going to be focusing on multiplying and dividing integers. To get started with the whole process, we're going to do a real quick review on the rules for multiplying and dividing signs. Then we extend that idea into multiplying and dividing integers. Okay, so rules for multiplying and dividing signs. So just focus on the signs for now. Alright, so what are the rules for multiplying and dividing signs? Well, to get started, I'm going to show you a tool that can help you remember how to multiply and divide sign. This tool was presented in a 1.4 tutorial, so we're just going to go over that again, assuming you haven't seen it, and this is known as the peace sign, okay? So let's go ahead and start off by drawing our nice little peace sign, and then we're going to talk about how to multiply and divide signs using this tool. Alright, so there goes our peace sign. Okay, now we have minus, minus, and plus. Now what does this peace sign tell us? The peace sign tells us that whenever you're multiplying and dividing the same signs, you always end up with positive. And whenever you're multiplying or dividing these different signs, you always end up with a negative. Okay? So look at this parent right here. If you have minus and minus either multiplied by each other or divided by each other, you end up with plus because the signs are the same. Okay? Now if you have plus and a minus, because the signs are different, if you multiply or divide them, you end up with a minus. That will be the sign of the resulting answer. Okay? So let's go ahead and summarize what the peace sign tells us to the right. Let's talk about the same signs first. Okay? So when you multiply or divide the same. So the key word here is the same, okay? The same sign, what happens? You always end up with the positive sign as the final result. Okay? So let's look at the four cases. If you have minus divided by minus, you have a plus. Or if you have minus multiplied by minus, you have a plus. How about positive divided by positive? Positive divided by positive is also positive. And then positive multiplied by positive is positive also. So you can see that whenever you're multiplying or dividing the same signs, you always end up with positive. Okay? Now on the flip side, when you multiply or divide different signs, guess what? You end up with negative. Alright, so let's illustrate. So if you have minus divided by plus, the signs are different, you end up with minus. If you have minus multiplied by plus, you end up with minus. If you do plus divided by minus, you end up with minus. And then plus times minus, you end up with minus also. So you can see that whenever you're multiplying or dividing numbers with different signs, the product is going to be negative. Okay? So just remember, same, positive, different, negative. Okay? Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at some examples. Alright, examples. Now the instructions are for us to evaluate the given expression. So evaluate the given expressions. Okay, number one, let's say we have the problem -4 divided by 2. Alright, so let's do this. Now, I'm going to break down the first two problems, and then when we're stepping it up to the more advanced problems, I'll skip the intermediate steps, okay? So the steps that we're going to be employing in the problem solving process are as follows. So you want to break it into two parts, okay? Step one, you deal with the signs first. So for step one, you multiply, um, and divide signs using the rules that we talked about earlier. And then when you're done with the sign resolution, you then focus on multiplying or dividing the numbers. Multiply or divide numbers. Alright, so that's what we're going to do. So -4 divided by 2. Let's take a look at the first part. Part 1, we want to deal with the signs. Okay, in this case, we're dividing signs. So we're going to divide let's write it out. We're going to divide the signs. In this particular case, what's the approach? We have minus divided by plus. There's no sign here. The default sign for a number without a specified sign is positive. It's invisible, okay? The invisible sign. So if you have a minus and you divide a minus by a plus, what's the answer going to be? Remember, anytime you're dividing different signs, the result is always going to be negative. Okay? Alright, so that's that for the sign resolution. And then for the numbers, when we divide the numbers, what we're looking at is just basically 4 divided by 2. And we know that that is 2. Alrighty, so if we put everything together, -4 divided by 2, you can do this mentally. The signs minus over plus is minus. 4 over 2 is 2. So -4 divided by +2 is -2. That's the answer for question number 1. Okay, let's take a look at problem 2. Now, what if we are dealing with a product this time? What if we have -5 times -2? I'm going to follow the same procedure. Okay? Alright, let's break it up. Let's do the sign first. So in this particular case, we are multiplying the signs. Multiply signs. When we multiply the signs, we're looking at minus times minus. Now, what is minus times minus? The signs are the same, so whenever you multiply or divide the same signs, you end up with positive. Okay? Alright, and then the second part of the problem involves just multiplying the numbers. So we're going to multiply the numbers. What am I talking about? You just multiply 5 times 2. 5 times 2 is 10. Okay, so this is basically how you think about it. Let's go ahead and do the problem. So if you're multiplying -5 times -2, you want to do this mentally. You do the signs first. Minus times minus is plus. 5 times 2 is 10. When you have a positive sign number, you do not need to put the plus there. You just write it with the number by itself. Okay, this indicates positivity. So 10 is the solution to question number 2. Okay, so let's assume you've got the foundational steps down. Let's level it up a little bit and take a look at something slightly more complicated. What if we have 2 times -3 times 5? Okay, we have 3 signs here that we're going to be dealing with. What are they? We have +2 times -3 times +5. Alright, so we're going to multiply the signs and then multiply the numbers. So to do that, you can attack this problem 2 at a time, from left to right. So for the first two, you have plus times minus. The signs are different, so that's going to yield minus. And then 2 times 3 is 6. Alright, so we're doing it We're multiplying from left to right. Those two give you -6. And that product, the product of the first two, will be multiplied by the last number. Positive times negative is, we now want to do -6 times +5. Okay, so minus times plus, signs are different. -6 times 5, 30. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the final answer for question number 3. Now let's take a look at another one. What if you have 12 divided by -2 times -3? Alright, so how do we attack this problem? So we have two numbers in the denominator, so we can cluster them together in the parentheses, -2 times -3. And then remember the tutorials we went over in, I think, section 1, 2. In section 1, 2, we talked about order of operations, right? So if you remember your order of operations, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. You deal with parentheses first. So we're going to deal with the product of these two numbers in the parentheses in the denominator, and then we'll divide when we're done with that. Okay? Alright, so we're going to have 12 over. Now if you take a look at -2 and -3, the signs are what? The signs are the same, so whenever you multiply this, divide the same signs, you always end up with positive. Okay, and then 2 times 3 is 6. We can just write that as 12 over 6. You don't need a sign for positive numbers. Now you're dividing two numbers with the same sign, so the answer will be positive. 12 divided by 6 is 2, so your final answer is going to be +2, or just 2 by itself. Alright, so how well did you master the contents of this presentation? We'd like you to try out the following problems to demonstrate mastery, so let's have you try these. Question number 1. Let's go ahead and write down the instructions first. The task is to evaluate the given expressions. Number 1, let's say you have -4 times 9. Number 2, -2 times -9. Number 3, 6 times -2 times -9. Number 4, 4 times -10 times -4. Times 3. Number 5, -64 divided by -8. Okay, go ahead and pause this video. Wait, one more. Let me give you number 6, -45 over 9. Alright, go ahead and pause this video. Try out these problems. When you're done, go ahead and click play, and it will be displaying the answers momentarily. Alright, hopefully you had a chance to try out these problems. Let's go ahead and take a look at the answers. So number 1 is -36. Number 2 is 18. Number 3 is 108. Number 4 is 480. Number 5 is +8. And number 6 is -5. Alright, so that's that. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this presentation. Really appreciate it. If you found the contents of this tutorial helpful in your studies of how to multiply and divide integers, do give us a thumbs up. Your positive feedback is very valuable to us. If you have any questions or comments about the contents of this presentation, just place it in the comment section below, and we'll be more than glad to respond. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for updates to other great algebra tutorials such as this. A lot of tools and support resources can be found at mathgotserved.com, and you can scan our QR code to gain access to the entire playlist. Thanks again for watching and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.